Yeah. There
All
you go.
right, welcome. Here we are. This is Leela Veronica, and I have Maurice. Maurice, tell me how to say your last name. I didn't even ask.
Thibodeau.
Thibodeau! How fun of a name is that? All right, so I announced earlier that I was going to be interviewing you, and I just want to introduce you. Maurice is the creator of the Life Inventory Assessment, LEA, as many of your people call it, and the Extreme Leadership Accelerator Mastermind. He is a transformational coach, I would say a super duper connector, and a friend, a colleague, and somebody I met last year that I want to share with my community. Why? Well, Maurice helps coaches, and I'm connected to a lot of coaches. You have coaches and leaders and individuals as well, but I'm connected to a lot of coaches. So today, Maurice is going to talk about the three main factors to create undeniable results with your clients in their first session.
Mhm.
So, Maurice, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be with you again. It's always a treat.
Yeah, it's so great. So, I want to start off by saying, I am connected with a lot of people who love to give people great results,
Mhm.
but maybe sometimes they struggle with some people to get them results.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's like one person who gets mega results, and then everybody else kind of gets results, but not mega results.
Yeah.
Can you speak to probably a little bit about what you do and how it's related to results?
Yeah, I think talking about some of the real struggles is actually a good place to start. So in addition to not necessarily consistently getting right results across all your clients, another common struggle that I hear coaches talk about is the frustration of time to result. So with some clients, I would say fewer clients will come in and they will be wide open. They will tell the truth and they will get right to the core issue. That's about 5% of clients. Most clients are going to come in and it's already an anxious kind of ridden environment for them. So the client is struggling to actually express all that they need to express for the coach to help them the most. So it's ends up becoming more of a fact finding, like a mystery mission of starts and stops, not necessarily identifying the root cause, choosing actions that aren't really associated with what they actually need. And then the client ends up getting frustrated because they're doing stuff that's not actually bringing them forward. And the client and the coach gets really, really frustrated because they're like, what's going on? I'm bringing all my best stuff here, and it's still not having the effect that, for the coaches that we work with, it's like you came into the business to make a big difference and you want to make that impact if you're a maximizer like me, in the quickest amount of time. And when that happens, everything can really, really change because then your clients are out there telling the stories. Your clients are out there telling the stories of, hey, I worked with X and here's what it was like for me. And what I teach coaches to do, it's because I've like thought about this for years and years and years in my own life and accidentally created a system
Mhm.
to really understand and get through some of the challenges that we commonly face from being able to sort out our own details. So within a system, what I do with coaches is I help them in a really concise, a really precise way to be able to, in that first client meeting, within that first client meeting, that first 60 minutes, create trust, find focus, and move to committed action. And the way that we do it, the precision that we do it with, is it increases. Nothing's a guarantee. If anyone comes and says, I guarantee that you'll find that complex human beings, root cause, that's not how it goes. However, there are some very specific things that you can do to massively increase your chances of successfully finding the root cause or the issue that is right around the root cause, and then reducing the time it takes for that client to actually see and live and have their results in the world expressed, right? That movement that they came to you as a coach for. So that's what I teach. It's an amazing thing that I get to do. I'm always humbled by the people that end up showing up and learning the system. And then the most important part is when I see the success stories in their coaching practice. It's like, oh, I was stuck here with a client. And it was a client I've been working with a long time, and I didn't know where to go next. And then they took the life inventory assessment, and all of a sudden everything made sense. Other stories I'll hear are coaches making first impressions. It's, hey, I brought somebody in, they were a little bit nervous about working with me, and I took them through a life review. Coaches will call it different things, a life fulfillment review. Um, and I took them through it. And after that, they knew themselves so clearly. It was just like, it was obvious that we were meant to work together. So coaches will come back with these success stories, and that's what we're here meant to do.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. So this is beautiful. I have some questions for you. We've got to dive in a little bit more so people understand which.
Yeah.
So I actually went before our interview today. I went back to our original conversations, and what I would say is that Maurice is a super connector. He's really good at connecting with people. Just stays consistent, easeful, no attachment, no clinginess, no weirdness, none of that kind of thing, but a super duper connector. So if you're at all feeling called today to stay connected to somebody, I would say Maurice is one of the people you want to stay connected to, because you always want to know people who know people. Let's just be real. And
Yeah.
here's the thing. I am blessed to have been interviewing you today right after you interviewed my business bestie, my best girl,
Yeah.
Elle Ingalls, the creator of the Pressure Free Method, which I'm also certified in. She's a
Mhm.
coach, I'm a coach, I'm certified in her methodology. So I want to dive into your methodology a little
Sure.
bit.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it, you kind of like teased us with it, the life inventory assessment.
Hmm.
So can you share a little bit about, what this is, and why did you create it, but like where did this come from? Where was this, like how did you like wake up one day, or like the LIA, or was it an evolution, or can you share a little bit about, so that people have some context about what it is, and then kind of how it came about?
Yeah, you bet. I'll start with the short version of like how it came to be, and then answer, what exactly, like what is it? Okay, so how it came to be, I said like it was an accident. A In my pursuit of wanting to live my best life, of wanting to live on purpose, of wanting to make the best decisions in my life, and probably in the beginning being afraid of making the wrong decisions. I um, was influenced by a lot of great business leaders who are writing about, how to create a business that's going to last a long, long time, that's going to be based on values and create purpose. So I took the frameworks from those things and I started to apply that to life. So it's like the same principles seem to apply, that if I wanted to create an amazing business and if I was doing these things, if I applied the same type of structure and methodologies around creating a life, the same type of attention, then it seemed pretty reasonable that that would also, transcend. And so I started to think about the different roles in my life and the different goals I had around those roles and the values that I wanted to live within those. And I needed to figure out, like, to sort it out and to, like, figure out how fulfilled am I in these things and do I have a plan for them? And that led to me inviting my wife into the process. At the time, my girlfriend. And I'm like, hey, we're getting pretty serious here. Let's go do this thing. And it was a retreat, and I had a workbook, and I said, let's see if our lives are meant are on the same track.
Mm.
And that was in my early 20s. And I decided to ask her to marry me. She said yes. And one of the very conscious things that we did was we're going to do this retreat every year. And I'm always learning. I'm super curious. So all the things I would learn from one year, I would apply to this workbook that we would do. And then we would do our, 2.5 day retreat where we look at our goals and evaluate our life and kind of set the tone for the next year. Well, I did that for 15 years. And then I left my job, and then I kind of really like my corporate job and moved into leadership coaching. And as I was figuring out what I'm going to do, it was evolution. So you asked, was it evolution or did you wake up one day? That's the evolution path. And then when I started to work one-on-one with people, I used the methods that I knew worked. So I grab my workbook and I'd be like, hey, I want to know who you are before we get into the strategies, before we get into what we should be doing together. I want to know who you are. And when I used that methodology, it worked. It moved our strategies and our processes through really, really fast. It helped me as a coach have the confidence to know that I was doing the thing that was most going to impact their life. And about a year after using it, that's when I had oh man, I have to create this. Like, this isn't a workbook on pen and paper for me. That I haven't seen this anywhere else. And I've taken a lot of assessments and I've studied a lot of methodologies. This matters. So that's when I went on to create it and found developers and hired designers, and then we made it come alive. So over a course of a number of years, we created it as it stands today. And so that's section one of your question. So
Yeah.
what the heck is it, and how does it help? So I would say it's a methodology that has a tool that supports it.
Mm.
So the methodology is what I teach. I'm super excited. I have a completely online program now, and I also teach a live class. So coach will get certified in the methodology, and that methodology helps you to, at the end of the day, create undeniable results with your clients consistently.
Mm.
The way it does that is it gives a consistent approach to create trust. That's the very first thing. And then to find focus, really system precise way on how to find focus in an abundant environment that clients really struggle to find focus with. And then three, it's create committed action that they're inspired to take. So I teach how to do that in a really gentle, a really open, compassionate way. And then that's supported by a tool, by the assessment. And so I teach them how to use the tool, how to become an expert in that tool. And now they're set up totally to 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 have that first client meeting. Usually I'm recommending they do it early. And within 60, 90 minutes, you will know that client intimately, often better than they've been able to sort through themselves, often better than their partner knows them, often like you'll know them intimately just by the questions that they spent 15 minutes asking and by the training that you've had to look at this life map. And I mean, it sounds corny, but I think of the movie A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah.
We're limitless, where all the things are coming down. When it starts to click together and you see the patterns in a person's life, It's like, there's their life map. Oh, I gotta talk to them about this. And as a coach, I get excited about these kind of about revealing these spots. Sometimes they're blind spots in a client's life. Sometimes there's just like a really clear pattern that that client hasn't yet addressed in their life, and it's been perpetual. So now it's like, okay, like this is their self-perception, and then you have it, and then they can see it in a way that just unfolds the story of their life. So
Mm.
your opportunity to goal set and move forward is um, so much that I'd say the coach is now in a position to use their best talents.
Yeah.
Like it's a bridge. So it doesn't matter what modality you're using, right? It doesn't matter what type of coach you're in. If you're interested in moving that person from a whole person perspective, then this is going to be a bridge to use your greatest gifts, to use your wisdom, and to spend time on the things that you're best meant to serve, rather than poking around, rather than it being like a you know you're kind of searching in the dark a lot of the times as a coach with like asking good questions, but like and you're up against a lot of barriers. But I've kind of got this coach's super tool that like if it was a flashlight, it would create this giant light to illuminate the client's life. And then I teach them how to use that light in a way that's really soft and really gentle and really safe.
Mm.
And when you have those two things in combination, it's like, this is safe to look and look at what we see. Let's use our curiosity and our compassion to find the clues that matter most in your life. And now let's attach that to, and then they usually add their wisdom and right, their life wisdom, their modality, whatever that is, attach that wisdom in the middle to say, now what? To commit, right? To create the inspired commitment of what are you going to try in this great experiment of life between the next time we meet? And the chances of them picking the right commitments are way higher with this consistent system than kind of poking around. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try something else. That didn't work. Let's try something else. Eventually, the client's getting frustrated and thinking it's them.
Yeah.
And the coach often might feel the same way. And it's like, it's neither. It's just that the coach client process is, it has a lot of things in there, a lot of complexities and a lot of barriers that make it hard to move fast sometimes.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
a lot of
So,
words.
well, I love it. It's if somebody wants to help their clients get results faster, this is a tool, or excuse me, this is a methodology that comes with a tool.
Yes. Yeah.
So, how can, let's just, I love it. I think you did a really good job of explaining it. I will say for everybody listening, I did the assessment and it was super helpful. Can you share what are the quadrants?
Yeah.
Um,
So you end up reviewing, like having a self-evaluation of 13 different categories in your life,
mhm.
all the way right from your relationships to your financial, but context really matters. So we do 13 categories. And then each one of those categories will fall into one of four quadrants. It will either be into flow. And if you have life categories in flow, you're like, hey, these are my highest priorities and they're in full abundance. That generally, from a coaching direction standpoint, you're supporting, you're celebrating, you're saying, what can I learn from these amazing things that are happening in my life?
Mm.
The next quadrant that is similar to flow is ease. These are categories in your life that are slightly less important. The person has ranked them as a lower priority, but they're still in high abundance. Same thing. What can we learn? What can we celebrate? What can we encourage to continue to do? So that's the right-hand side of the quadrant map. And then there's the left-hand side, top is action zone. This means that it's a high priority category in their life. So this is really important to me, but it's not yet in total fulfillment. Generally, this is where we find the areas for action. Usually look there, and the further outside of fulfillment it is, it's like, okay, there's something going on there. This is important to you. It's not in fulfillment. Let's take a look at it. This makes sense. It's probably going to have the highest ROI of energy if we move this to a more fulfilled state, but everything else gets better. And then the last category, we label it watch. And it simply means that it's not in fulfillment, but it's been ranked as a lower priority. So as a coach, when you know how to read this thing, you look at a person's life map and you've got a very accurate guess, an informed guess on where am I most likely to find the most value for this client with my gifts.
Mm. Good, good,
And
good.
when you combine those, it's like everything changes. And then you get to measure it over time because you can work with the person over a little bit of time and have them take it again. And if you have a program, like I use it in all my retreats to
Mm,
know my clients, first of all, and to measure where they're at. And then we do a post measurement
mm,
and we actually have like a compare report. So it's like, oh, look at like before you felt this way and look at how far that's moved over. You can actually measure the impact that you're making as a coach. And that's sometimes really hard to do.
I
And the
love
cool
that. I'm just
thing,
going to point that out. You can
yeah,
measure the impact you're making as a coach. That's pretty hot tamale. That's
yeah.
pretty good stuff. I love that. So, how can people stay in touch with you? How can people learn about this? What, if they want to kind of dig in, rabbit hole this, where do they go?
Yeah, so the first place I would recommend is download the program information. Like I'll put both my website, which is and the QR code, Illumination Experiences with an S.com is my base website. There's a space there for coaches, but we'll put the direct download where they can download the program information and say, okay, what would it look like to get trained on this thing? I really recommend if you're a coach, start there. Just check it out. Please check it out. Doesn't matter if you've been coaching for 1 year or you've been coaching for 15. Like this is a premier coaching tool and you won't get it until you try it. So it's like download the coaching information and then you also get access to take the actual assessment. And then so you'll get to see the demo, you'll get to take the assessment, and there's tons of testimonials from coaches that have gone through it and how they're using it in their practice. So I'd say that I would start there. And then if you're an individual, you're not a coach, you're just like, hey, I would really like to take a look at my life. That is a different website. So that is mylifeinventory.com.
Mm.
There's a consumer model so that they can take it either self-paced or I can match them with one of the certified coaches.
All right. I think this is wonderful. I want to say everybody should take the assessment. Either you're a coach, go to the Illumination Experiences. If you're an individual, go to
Mylifeinventory.com.
mylife,
Oh, simple.
mylifeinventory.com. Maurice is a wonderful man. He is helping people all around the world. I've met his community. So many people in his community are so wonderful as well.
Yeah.
So like attracts like. If you're a wonderful person and you want to help people get better results or get more out of your own life, go ahead and connect with Maurice. Maurice, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.